Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Last Man Standing, Saturday night, November the 27th. Um, this is the closest you're going to get to stupid o'clock after midnight, okay? So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. At the moment, we have Rich with us right now. I have sent out an invitation or two to other folks. And here is Aunt Donna right on the bell. So,
Hey,
yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. So, and thank you everybody that's watching us live or on the rerun. And I've got to say, when the show's over, I will put it on the my YouTube mix of all the shows. So if you really were dedicated, you could watch everything that has ever been said on this show.
dedicated to Warped.
Well, masochists do exist. Uncle Carl does tune in the next day and watch this when he's awake, and we'll try not to make it a 3 hour tonight, but ain't no promises being made.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, I am officially on vacation, so we are. I'm feeling no pain sitting in the chair. Um, we'll see how long that lasts, but
Oh, I had a little nap earlier, so I'm okay.
speaking of pain, Rich, how's your arm? Oh, that's higher than I've ever seen you raise your arm before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Surgery seems to have been worthwhile.
Oh, yes. Even without the pain meds, within 36 hours, I was able to get it twice as high as I'd been able to get it in over a year.
Mm.
So I really can't complain.
Oh, and
It's I'm a big fan of this surgeon. He did my meniscus repair on my knee 8 years ago, and
even the issues I was having with the amount of pain I was still in, several days after the surgery, I was still more pain free in those days than I had been in a couple of years leading up to that point. So,
Hey, and we are grateful. Seriously. Um, and Facebook just told me get ready to start the show now that we're 5 minutes and 30 seconds in. Um, seriously, Facebook, catch up, will you please? Um, Not all of these delayed notifications are because I've got the crappiest internet on the planet, um, but some of them might just be. Now, hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving.
Yep.
I can't complain. Uh, e- Even considering it's still a far cry from the worst ones I've had in my life. Um, so,
Well, I was very glad to Wednesday night. My brother and sister and I took mom out to dinner, and we had my foster brother Stephen was there, and my niece, I believe it was Ari, was there, and my brother and his wife, um, my niece Taylor was there, my sister's daughter. Unfortunately, um, my sister's husband is working night shift sort of thing, so he couldn't be there. But it was a great time. I mean, when you get my family in one room around a table, comedy ensues. We are rather irrepressible and witty at the same time, which it may not always be a good thing, but we're always happy about it. So we had a great time. Food was good. Um, Company was excellent, and it was a good time had by all. And then Lindsay, the next day, actual Thanksgiving Day, Lindsay cooked turkey and dressing and steamed veggies and everything. So I've been stuffed for days, and we're trying desperately to make sure that none of the leftovers go to waste. And oh, the dog's being quiet. So yeah,
Yeah.
trying to make sure that we don't have to actually give leftover turkey to the dog because she sleeps enough as it is. But uh,
yeah, shortly after I was able to um, grip a knife with my left arm again, I was dicing the veggies to go into the dressing. Made Ma's recipe of dressing. Um, and Misty had it half gone before the turkey was even done.
mhm.
uh, she loves my mom's recipe for dressing, and
Yep,
um,
that's
it's
that's the reason my mom goes, okay, stuffing goes in the turkey. Here is two biscuit plates of dressing to go in the oven. Y'all try and save room for the actual dinner, which is hard to do because mom's been cooking since the Great Depression. So she has some experience in preparing food for a large family. So this is it's probably The second reason I am now close to 200 pounds when my normal body weight should be somewhere around 150, but I keep surrounding myself with these very, very good cooks, and I'm going, I can't say no. I can't say no. Yeah, just bring it.
Yeah,
Oh,
Misty
Lord.
thinks she can't cook, but Misty is actually a very good cook.
Mm,
Um, and I
yep.
keep explaining to her, I'm like, honey, if you weren't a good cook, I'd be losing weight, not still packing more on.
Hmm. Lindsay doesn't give herself enough credit. I mean, she's got not only the Tex-Mex cuisine that she has learned from her childhood in Venezuela and her young adulthood in Texas and New Mexico, but she's got all the British skills that she learned from her earlier childhood over in England. And you would not believe what that woman can do with a roast beef. I'm just sitting there going, it smells so good. Just I could probably take a plate and cut off some of the scent and get full. Oh Lord. But she lacks confidence. I keep trying to build her up and tell her, that you're better than you think you are, but
That's Mrs.
she's
Problem.
having none of it. So I will keep trying.
It's when we first got married, um, Misty was like, if it's not something that can go directly from the freezer to the oven, or if it's not something that can be prepared from the back of a box, she wasn't going to make it. She refused to be domesticated. So every so often I lean over to her, I'm like, honey, you've been domesticated. She's because that, uh, I better sleep with one eye open because she knows where the frying pans are and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's when we first got married. I did the bulk of the cooking, where we were making stuff from scratch and stuff like that. Um,
Hmm.
but she's gotten more comfortable with it, and I think a good portion of that is um, my father-in-law doesn't know when to shut the hell up. Um, and I don't think he meant to hurt my brother-in-law's feelings. I don't think he meant to hurt Misty's feelings and stuff like that with some of the shit that come out of his mouth. But yeah, uh, so I think that's one of the reasons why she has the issues she has as far as cooking goes and stuff like that. So, um, and I just enjoy it. I have fun with it. It's Ma taught me to cook when I was 8. So
Yeah, I've been learning a few things myself since I was of a similar age, and I had several teachers. So I remember um, Appalachian cooking from my early childhood and Southern cooking from my later childhood, and there I'm now at the point where I have actually been married for more years than I have been single collectively, scattered around between all the different events. But I have a very limited repertoire of what I can do, and Lindsay has expressed her preference for me cooking something over her cooking the same thing. She likes my chili better than she likes her own. She likes my beef stew better than she likes her own. And I'm going, ain't nothing wrong with what you make, honey. She goes, yeah, but you put magic into it somehow. No, it's not magic. It's garlic and a couple of 7 herbs and spices. Yes, um, the stuff where you're cooking and your ancestors go, "That's enough, child." You know,
And then you still in some more.
no. When my ancestors say that's enough, child, I've just about overdone it. But there's only so much garlic and oregano you can put in stuff without overblowing it. So, oh yeah, my
Oh
spaghetti.
no, no.
She loves my spaghetti. That was the first thing I ever cooked for her. The
Yeah,
the
my
day she,
chili, my vegetable beef soup, and my tacos are what the family prefers me to make over Miss.
Mm.
I will sit in awe with wiping drool off my chin when Lindsay's doing anything uh, Tex-Mex, but she will stand back and give me the entire kitchen when I'm throwing together some spaghetti or the bachelor beef stew or doing stuffed bell peppers or something like that. She goes,
Mm,
I do not have the patience to do what you're doing.
stuffed peppers.
Oh, I did one where cut the bell peppers in half, put them in a bamboo steamer, layered it with thinly sliced beef and cheese, and made my version of a Philly steak inside a bell pepper.
Hmm.
And she goes, I'm never going to attempt that. I want this. This is good. You know, I'm going, I can't get any higher praise unless my mama eats some and goes, hey, this is pretty good. You know, if I can make my wife happy with my cooking, I must be doing something right. And as I said, it's all strictly bachelor stuff. It's not, uh, I cannot throw chicken in a skillet and fry it the way mama used to do. I wish I had that skill. Um, I cannot make cornbread to save my life. If I did, I'd probably be about twice as heavy as you are, Rich, and immobile, except for the fork. Seriously. Um, in my family, cooking is a lethal weapon. You want to get
Yep.
rid of an in-law, you feed them till they burst. Seriously. And it's all good. It's all good. There are things I wish I could do, and I probably could figure out how to do it if I gave myself enough time. Um, Now we kind of vie evenly on stir fry because we got a nice wok. So Lindsay is great at that, and I'm pretty good myself. And we tag team chopping everything up to go in the wok. So that's no ego contest there. But she takes it into her head she wants this. She does it. Um, I take it into my head that, hey, I can do this. Just sit back and let me have the kitchen tonight, honey. I'd love to cook for you. And she lets me go. That's a happy marriage right there. You pretty much go, hey, let me do this. And oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad you did that. It really works.
I don't think I've been allowed to cook a turkey since the one and only time we had Thanksgiving at our house. I mean, just because there was a little fire, it wasn't my fault. It was my mom's.
Yeah, I remember that story. Your mom didn't realize that it was going to boil dry.
It didn't boil dry. There was so much juice from the turkey that it overflowed, hit the hot elements in the electric oven, and then Carl made this silly gesture of opening the oven door, and it went poof.
Damn near had to regrow the beard, huh?
Almost. But since now we're both orphans, we really don't have any place to go. Um, my kids are, my brother's kids, I should say, all have families of their own and little ones of their own. So it's just the two of us. And why cook for just the two of us? So I usually have my sci-fi group come in the for our Thursday meeting the week before, and we'll do a carry-in.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend Julie will cook the turkey, and Carl's like, "You work so hard and you make so much stuff," and I'm like, "But that's the fun of it."
Yeah, really.
And with there's only 10 of us in the group, and then I take my old takeout cart containers that I've kept just for this purpose and send stuff home. We don't have a lot of leftovers, so
No,
it works out. Couldn't do it this year.
tomorrow when we go and visit my oldest boy to get to meet our brand new grandchild, one of the stops
Congratulations.
one of the stops we have to make either on the way there or on the way back is work has given us a gift card for a honey baked ham.
Mm.
So we do not let one scrap of that go to waste. Lindsay will probably not only make me turkey sandwiches to make sure all the Thanksgiving stuff does not go to waste, but we'll have the honey baked ham sandwiches out the wazoo, and then she will
Mm.
freeze some. And when we get down to the bone on this thing, she will make a ham and bean soup or something similar that uses this huge uh, ham bone to make the stock.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we're through with it, the dog gets the bone, and that's going to be one happy dog, let me tell you.
Yep. But Carl's not fond of ham. I'm the only one that's fond of ham, so that's really not a solution. So,
Mm.
but we
Well,
found a new restaurant in Wabash, Indiana, called Harvey Hinkleman, and it's pizza, sandwiches, Italian food, Mexican food. I mean, it had a heck of a menu. And we ate there Friday night to celebrate our anniversary and my birthday. And then we'd heard that Ryan Morse was at the show, had picked out a restaurant for the next day, today, so we could have lunch at 1 o'clock after the show was over. I'm like, where are we going? And well, I heard of this place called Harvey Hinkermeyer. Yeah, we'll go there. I don't care if I went there last night.
mm-hmm.
That good, huh?
Oh,
Oh
oh
yeah.
yeah.
I had a roast beef and mozzarella sandwich last night on Italian bread that was to die for. And
Now
then today I had pizza.
One of the things I will step back and
You okay?
just turn
Yeah.
Lindsay loose in the kitchen for, and not that I have any choice, but it's her kitchen. Um, when she wants to make fish and chips, I do not interfere one whit. I mean, little British woman can make some fish and chips that will make you drool just from the smell, just from what's wafting out of the oven while everything is baking.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the fish, you get the chips out, malt vinegar on the chips, French fries for those who are not
Mm-hmm.
familiar. Um, and these are the steak fries. They're thick cut.
Mm-hmm.
Malt vinegar, a little bit of salt. I put a little bit of pepper on my my chips. And the fish, you poke it with a fork a few times. You put a little bit of malt vinegar on there. If you're so inclined to add tartar sauce, you may. It's amazing. I'm not more than 200 pounds already.
Mm.
I mean, seriously, when Lindsay and I met, I was down to about 130, and I'm 5'11". I would look like a walking skeleton.
Mm.
Not no
I
more.
had not been taking care of myself. I had no interest in eating anything.
Well,
I had no interest in doing anything. I had no interest, period. And when she came along, that got knocked upside the head.
I find it amazing that my grandmother was always proud that she put a little bit of weight on grandfather because he was a little bit on the smaller side when they
Hmm.
first got together. And there's been a couple other women that I've known that mentioned something about they were proud that their cooking put some weight on their significant others.
Hmm. Eat. You're too thin.
Not in this
Yep.
house.
Oh. Well, I'm not what you would call a picky eater. There are things I will not touch.
Yeah.
Lindsay loves liver.
Ugh,
Yeah.
Carl.
Mm. My mom learned that I'd rather take a whooping than eat liver. But when mom chops it up fine and puts it in her turkey dressing and turkey stuffing, I will eat it. Just give me the bowl. Stand back. I'm busy. Uh,
That's because there's enough other good stuff in there it covers it up.
Yeah.
mhm. But there's very few things that I turn my nose up, and I can't remember anything besides liver. But okay, here's biographical note. Uh, Mom always said about me, you give that boy a pinto bean and some cornbread and some chow chow, he's a happy camper. And that's true. I I will make a meal off pinto beans and cornbread. I will make a meal off of buttermilk and cornbread. Um,
Um,
and this is not the sweet cornbread. This is the
I knew what you were talking
savory.
about.
Hmm. Now
That
nothing
can be
against
said of a lot of people in this area, though.
nothing to be said against folks that prefer the sweet cornbread. But for me,
There's
no
varying
sugar, no
levels of
sugar
sweetness.
necessary. But if I can make cornbread, not that I haven't tried, I just can't do it successfully. And yeah, a fire extinguisher was involved. Uh,
My
Lindsay's.
grandfather thought he needed cornbread and milk every day of his life, whether he needed it or not.
Hmm. Oh, like I said, you give me cornbread and buttermilk, I got a meal.
My grandmother and my mom, when my grandmother was got to the point where she wasn't able to, would make him at least a pan a day, if not more.
Now, I have actually found there is a brand of chow chow that is sold in the stores that is just about this close to what my grandmother and my great
Mm,
aunt used to make from scratch. And I was part of that process. I knew what they did.
mm,
I just could. There's no way I could reproduce it because this is like kimchi.
yeah.
You chop up a bunch of cabbage and you put in the right peppers, the right amount of vinegar, the right kind of vinegar, and you put it in this enormous crock. And you let it age for months and months and months until it's finally ready to open. It can be sweet, it can be peppery, different recipes, doesn't matter. It's all good. I like the mild myself. I can't handle too much hot stuff. Um, I have a problem with hot wings, I really do. It's really hard to make it mild enough for me when a lot of people go, "Oh, you can't make it hot enough for me." And people take that as a personal challenge and make it so hot that you got to wear hazmat suits and great big old thick gloves just to take it out. Um, no, not me, not me. I like the mild, a little bit spicy, not enough to where it sets not only my mouth but other organs southward of there on fire. Ah. Now we have found a buffalo chicken stuffed crust pizza,
Hmm.
and this is through Walmart and Sam's Club. It's not
Hmm.
something we make by ourselves, from scratch. And
Excuse
it's right at my limit. And this is the person that's got a jar of pickled jalapenos
me.
in the fridge going, yeah, let me see. One, two, two and a half. That's enough for 5 gallons of chili. Um, oh man, I've got people at work that grow their own peppers and they'll bring them into work and they go, hey, y'all take whatever you want, and it's a large variety of peppers, and I will leave anything hotter than a jalapeno there. I don't really want. Well, I might get one habanero and put it in the big jug along with everything else.
Hmm.
But that's it. I don't want a whole huge jug of habaneros or ghost peppers or Carolina Reapers, the other stuff that they grow for fun, just to bring into work and go, hey, yeah, you want one of these? It's really mild.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a ghost pepper. Mild does not even get close to the range that it's in. Um,
Do you like serranos?
I do indeed. And we have actually grown our own and stuffed them with rice and onions and cheese and oh, Lord knows what else.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh yeah. Basically, it's a stuffed bell pepper, but you use a serrano instead of bell pepper, because it has the same mild pepper taste, but it's
Mm.
bigger and it can hold more stuff.
Well, when you were talking about you weren't trying to get the hottest peppers and all, I said, yeah, I can't say the same about John Scarborough.
Mm. John can grow some hot peppers.
Good God
Let me
Almighty, that bad.
let me tell you. Um, Now, according to folklore,
Hmm.
you only plant peppers that you want hot when you're pissed off about something.
Hmm.
John must have been totally lit pissed off when he planted some of those things because
Yeah, but that's the thing about it. John's got that same expression just about all the time. You can't tell when he's pissed or where he's amused. Sometimes it's both.
mm, he can be pissed off that he's amused, um, or amused that he's pissed off,
Yeah.
which is approaching the intersection from two different directions, but it
Yeah.
works out.
He, he,
Uh, Oh, how many people complained that we didn't have the chili cook-off this year at Hallowcon? I heard at least 5 different people complain.
yeah, well, I thought you were going to, and thought Lewis was going to participate in it, but
Hey,
apparently
now we
everything
don't
got,
compete with professionals.
I know, but the thing is, I think everybody kind of got sidetracked with everything else. I think it kind of snuck up on us there at the end, the
Yeah.
weekend.
Now,
I hated that you couldn't come to Aunt Donna, but I totally understand why, and I would rather you be in better health and able to come next year.
I wanted to, but Carl had this thing about not wanting to hear me scream every time I moved.
Yeah, I
funny
totally
how
get
that
that.
works.
In it though,
Mm.
yeah, on a scale of about 1 to 10, the pain was about a 26.
Now,
Mm,
if people were actually serious about wanting my chili at Hallowcon,
hmm.
I could coordinate with the crew
Well,
and not
the
and not be
thing,
not be stepping on Megan's toes at all.
you're not. I mean, that would actually be good for late night snacking after
Uh-huh.
the feast and everything, or the All American Cookout Friday night. I mean, there's like I said, there's perfectly good opportunities to have it complement everything else that's being served there.
Well,
Plus, they can have fun judging it.
I mean, I'm not so fond of the idea of a chili cook-off where there's several people. Oh, this is just hot enough for me. Oh, this is too mild, and um, this is too hot, and I that wouldn't be what I was going for. I would be going. This is what I can do. If you like it,
Mm-hmm.
I will feel highly complimented. If you don't, somebody else will.
Yeah, and to me, it's not about just. I mean, the competition part's just kind of the shits and giggles thing.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're doing something all in good fun and just because you want to. That's the important thing. And like I said, it's great for a late night snack if it gets cold, which it does sometimes. Although it was surprisingly warm this year.
Well, if y'all want me to do it, I'll tote the crock pot. If not, no big
Well,
deal. I mean it
we
is.
got a little bit of time to finalize it if we do it.
Yep. And the thing is, it's better cooked that day rather
Yeah,
than a couple of days before and brought up in a Tupperware and reheated.
yeah, I
So,
agree.
especially when The only Tupperware I got to bring it in is not an entire crock pot full. And like I did that year,
Mm-hmm.
I thinned it out too much to fill up the crock pot. And me and John had to make emergency grocery runs to get more stuff to
Yeah.
put in there and actually make it worthwhile.
Yeah, but
But
luckily there's some places nearby that weren't too far away to drive to.
yep, definitely. But
That's
that's one thing. I do not want to compete with the people who are really good.
you're not competing against them. They're
I
just
mean, it's safe with Megan. She doesn't do that sort of thing.
yeah. It's it's complementary. It's not competitive. Like I said, all you're doing is supplementing to the food value.
hmm Just give people something
Yeah.
that they can go, "Ooh, didn't expect this. Ooh, that's good. Thank you." That's all I ever look for.
Yeah.
Um, Now I got to say, John's was entirely too hot for me.
Yeah. Now, what a lot of smart people did was they blended the two and made something pretty good.
That yep, um, that was something I heard from folks as well, and Carl was one of them. Go,
Mhm.
hey, yeah, a little of this and a little of that, and ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going well. Whatever floats your boat or whatever sinks your submarine. Uh,
And I like to think the fact, despite the fact we had fewer people on staff this past year, we actually seemed to be more efficient, unless it was just something we absolutely needed more numbers for.
well, I am grateful there will be fewer pseudo staff.
Yeah.
Um, Now I hate to hurt anybody's feelings. I really do. But
No, Dan,
uh,
that was something that needed to be brought to our attention, and I apologize that it happened in the first place. But yeah,
well, you know, some people have a tendency to be self-important, and they want to be the biggest fish in any pond, and that does not help the convention as a whole. So I'm very sorry that that situation arose, but I'm very glad it got addressed.
well, it's what's a good way I can relate this?
Oh, just cut,
Just
please.
because just because a fish is in a pond doesn't mean it's desired.
Could be,
And
could
it's
Some
could
bubbles
be
need to be burst.
Yeah.
it's kind of like that time where I caught a mud cat. One of the worst stenches I've ever had the misfortune of experiencing.
ah. Destined to replace the mud shark in your mythology. Thank
It
you,
it
Frank.
uh,
Ah,
it needless to say, it got tossed back in very quickly.
mm. Now, they put up a good fight. They're fun to catch, but
Yeah, but just because it's there doesn't mean I wanted it there.
wouldn't want
Sometimes
to
you
eat
gotta
it.
lance that bill.
Wouldn't want to eat it. No. Um, Catfish in general,
that,
I'm not.
that's a that's a bad image.
Catfish in general is something that I don't. It just don't sit well with me. I don't like it. A lot of people do. A lot of people do. Uh, but it's not my cup of tea. And I don't hold any grudges against anybody that absolutely loves a good catfish fillet.
Mm.
They can have all they want. I'm not going to touch it.
Is Dawn about to fall out on us?
Nope, just sitting here listening. Not much of a cook, so I don't have a lot to
Uh,
add.
well, I'm not much of a cook either. I just I know just enough to keep a bachelor alive.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Carl could have hamburger at every meal. Like,
My mom's cousin was that way. She could eat hamburger every meal and be happy.
nah, I force him to have some fish once in a while, or I do make a good chili, although some people have, like, that's just hamburger soup, and I'm like, well, isn't that kind of what chili is when you come right down to it?
Mm,
I make a good
sort of.
unstuffed peppers.
I think it's a little more closer to a stew, but not
Stew's
quite
got
as soupy.
vegetables in it.
Mm,
Mm. Um, Now my mom would be pretty much horror stricken at the chili I make because it's totally different from what she makes. I've got too much stuff in mine.
yeah.
And that was one thing that I was glad that I did. I did warn people that there were onions and mushrooms and whatnot,
Mm,
if in case they had any dietary restrictions
mm,
or didn't like this or didn't like that. So
yeah.
I thought that was a decent thing to do. Pretty much warn people ahead of
Yes, it
time.
was.
This has got this in it. If you don't like it, don't go for it. Yeah.
It was a nice gesture on your part.
And
I'm not a fan of mushrooms, but I can pick them out if necessary.
Oh,
mhm.
I could have mushrooms in about everything. And my mom got me started on. She used to put mushrooms in the mac and cheese.
Mm.
The
Mm.
first time I did that for Carl, he's like, "What in
Hey,
the?"
Josh.
Hey, Josh.
But he likes it. Hey,
Thank you.
Josh.
Um, Now, Lindsay does some wonderful stuff with the big portobello mushrooms. The
Hmm.
plate size things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, oh dear Lord,
Yeah,
this could be
those are the
fatal.
ones they make mushroom burgers out of
Hmm.
because they're so big.
This could be just about fatal, I swear. But catch me complaining, um, ain't no way.
Saw a recipe for a Philly cheesesteak sloppy Joe,
Oh,
Mm.
and using that as a stuffing for a portobello.
oof.
Mm. Oh my. Um.
I need to write that down because I need to try that.
Yes,
Um,
yes. And the stuffed bell pepper that I did the same way. Oh my
is
goodness. It took a long time because I steamed it slowly and it was alternating layers of the cheese and the thin sliced beef and onions, and thankfully didn't have to add bell pepper because it was in one, but everything else, and it took hours, and it took hours, but my God, melt in your mouth good, and all the flavors were preserved because it was steamed rather than just thrown together and baked in an oven. Now, we did finally bake it in the oven to give it a little bit more roasted texture, but that would I just made it up as I went along.
Some of the best recipes. That's you know what's needed. I mean, yeah, it's you have an idea. You base it on something like, what's this do, and go from there. Some of the best collaborations Misty and I have had in the kitchen have been that way. Um,
I did one that was supposed to be a dessert. Philadelphia cream cheese, fruit, and a suitable liquor or liqueur in a blender with French vanilla ice cream.
Excuse me.
Thank
Thank you.
Pour it into a glass or pour it into bowls. Set it in the freezer. Once you've taken it out of the blender, let it get a little bit more solid, and it's got a texture like sherbet, or it's basically a frozen smoothie. Depending on what you do with it, I mean the fruit and the liqueur. You could probably get arrested for getting people hooked on this shit. If you don't have any lactose intolerance, you're gonna love it. And if you do, you're probably gonna love it anyway, but hate yourself in the morning. It is very, very rich.
sounds like something that would go well with like an amaretto.
Amaretto, triple sec, depending if or Mandarin
And
Napoleon.
Marnier.
Oh yeah. Depending on what the fruit is, and that's the thing about liqueurs. You can always find one of
Grangala.
these things you can always find one of these things that are just exactly the right fruit flavor. Like somebody was making some fancy cocktail or whatever. They've got this stuff, and I made it into a dessert. And it's like fresh blueberries and Chambord raspberry liqueur.
Sounds good.
Yep. Now you got me thinking about IHOP and mixing the strawberry and blueberry syrup on the pancakes.
Yep. It's the intersections are multitude. I mean, seriously, you can take that in so many different directions. But
Oh yeah.
and it was health food, as long as you don't have a dietary restriction against
Yeah.
cream cheese or ice cream.
Cream cheese I can deal with. Cottage cheese is a different story.
Oh, I love cottage cheese. I really do. One of the brands actually has a little single serving cottage cheese with fruit. Usually, it's either strawberry, pineapple, or blueberry. That's all I've been able to find so far. Oh. Now I call me weird, but I like cottage cheese. Now I've had cornbread and buttermilk with a great big huge slab of very sharp cheddar cheese. and a few slices of apple. And apparently, that's damn near a British farmhand's lunch.
Hmm.
Now, plowman's lunch, which is the traditional thing, would instead of the cottage cheese, would include um, a meat pie and fruit like an apple or whatever, and a huge chunk of cheese and a nice beer to wash it down with,
Mhm.
and you just kind of dig in and then go back to work. Well, too bad I can't have a beer at work. Make the whole damn experience a whole lot better for me. But
It would also freak out your coworkers, which there would be some fun about that.
oh, you should see what they do when I actually do. I generally have tomato juice with
Hmm.
either my lunch or my afternoon break, and
Hmm.
I will take one of the plastic solo cups, the clear ones,
Hmm.
and I'll put in a little packet of salt,
Hmm.
just one of the standard single serving packets of salt,
Yeah.
and just enough malt vinegar to dissolve that. Then a dash of Worcestershire sauce, and then pour in the tomato juice. So
Hmm.
I've got a 12 ounce or 16-ounce.
Hmm.
Stir it up. I did that one time at a meeting with management,
Hmm.
and I'm going, look, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was going to be here. I've got the lunch my wife made for me. Your sandwich looks good. I'll take it home and eat it later. But I gotta do that. I can't take a full plate home. My wife will get mad, like
Hmm.
I don't like her cooking anymore. No, no, no. This is not happening. Preserve the domestic tranquility.
Mhm.
You eat what's put in front of you, and you compliment the cook. So basically, I'm sitting there, and it's like an alchemy recipe. I'm putting this stuff in, and they're just looking at me and going, um, "Is there vodka in there somewhere?" I'm going, "No, it's not with an executive 3 martini lunch." Um, they seriously thought I had a drinking problem. Little did they know.
Well,
Mm.
there is a type of water that I am fond of getting at Kroger, and I use the bottles at work to fill up with the machine, and the several of the bosses thought that it might have been vodka. I'm like, no, it's water. It says it on the bottle there.
It's
RTM
water.
water.
It's water.
Like, man, I thought that was vodka to begin with, just because it's got a pretty package and you know a decent looking bottle. It doesn't mean it's vodka.
This is not the green room. This is not the green room. I cannot make remarks about a pretty package. Uh,
You can, but the green room would be a better place for it.
yes,
Probably.
definitely. Not that I want to say Friday can't come soon enough, but there might have to be several emergency green rooms like Michaela's
Mm.
while I'm on vacation the next 2 weeks. Um, an emergency last man standing that that isn't on StreamYard. Ah, only the
Oh,
names have been changed to protect the supposedly innocent.
the
Yeah.
innocent and the guilty.
Oh Lord. we've ranged far afield so far, and we're only an hour in.
When is it not that way?
I was just gonna say,
Hey, that's 90% of the fun of doing this is being able to cover an enormous variety of different topics, and and the humor doesn't hurt. It really
Of
doesn't.
course.
Um, as long as Carl doesn't fall out of his chair watching tomorrow.
if he does, serves him right.
Hey,
Has
Calvin will
that
help him
happened
back up.
before?
Um, Not that he's ever admitted to. Now,
I
I'm
didn't
sure
hear
if
the
Connor
question.
witnessed it, she would have told us.
I didn't hear the question.
I said, has he ever done that? Falling
Yeah.
out of the chair from laughing so hard.
Yeah, he once. I could hear him. I mean,
That must have been the night that the cat farted in Joe's face.
oh, we got somebody else. Oh, Kiri. Okay,
hey, Carrie.
welcome.
How's it going, guys?
It's
Um,
going.
Good.
it's going. So far, we've been talking about food, drink, and comedy. So,
Did you say
Yeah.
comedy?
Well,
yeah, I
somebody
did say
mentioned Carl, so that's comedic.
comedy gold right there.
Yeah. He does have his own humor group.
Hey.
The
Well,
funny thing is the night in the green room when he disappeared for a while.
Oh, under the desk.
And pretty soon people were saying, you need to go check on him. It's been a while. So I go in there. Yeah, he's asleep under his desk. Because he drank so much. And
Well, I'll
pretty
tell
soon
ya.
he woke up and popped back in the green room. Yeah,
Well, I'll
I
tell ya.
spied.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell ya. Today I went to the doctor, and my doctor told me that I have the peekaboo virus. Don't worry, they sent me to the ICU.
I knew that was coming.
That
Dude.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Had me worried there for a minute, and then I go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, something's coming. This is
Shortest distance between two funds is a straight line. Yep, I get it.
I'll be right
Uh-huh.
back.
Oh, Lord.
man.
Got to turn the heater down again. It's getting way too warm in here. And not just because Aunt Donna's here. All right? Don't nobody
Yeah.
get no ideas. Ah.
It was too
Boy,
late for
my
that.
accent slips out at the most inopportune moments. I can sound extremely erudite at times, and then I can sound like I just walked out of the woods with a gunny sack over my shoulder. Oh, Lord.
I sound so southern, I sound like I'm related to myself.
I think that was a topic in a green room here recently. Oh, I believe my punchline was no, that only happens in Alabama. But,
Yeah, or West Virginia.
oh, Roxanne's here in the audience.
Hello,
Hey,
Roxanne.
Roxanne.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Yes, I had a good Thanksgiving. I survived Black Friday.
I survived Black Friday by not leaving the house.
Yeah, well, I didn't
missed
until
out.
after a point.
I missed out on several deals on Amazon, but then again, I need to buy more ebooks for my Kindle. Um,
Well, there's Cyber Monday deals coming, so
I know, but it doesn't matter where there's a special deal or not. I'm still going to spend $100 on books. I mean, seriously. I've got to have stuff to read at work, and I can't take paperbacks or I can't take real tree books to work anymore because not only will they get damaged, but might splash tomato sauce or whatever on the pages and hate myself the next day. So I've got to. I'm looking at. There's another Dashiell Hammett collection of short stories that I would like to have, and got to look and see what else is out there. I mean, I've got all the Terry Pratchett books, just about.
that's what I've got my eye on.
Oh man, I'd make it a point to where I will read the Discworld books all the way through the entire series. Now I've got the Tiffany Aching books that are part of the Discworld, but I've got them in a collection, and they put them in the collection out of order.
Oh,
Of course.
Yes. So I may have to go back and just get them as individual books as well, which is no big deal. I mean, Terry's family can use a couple of extra dollars. I mean, seriously. The man's sense of humor was off the charts. But then there's other more classic stuff I'd like to get to. I found out that somebody is writing stuff inspired by some Andrew Norton books.
No.
Yeah, and I'm as much as I admire and as much as I love Andrew Norton, somebody else writing in her universe, I'd have to read at least one to find out whether or not they're getting it right.
yeah.
Because
I wonder if maybe continuing with the Witch World.
it was this set was continuing with the Solar Queen series, Sargasso in space and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Now, if they do it right, they got my money.
Yeah.
If they screw it up, one is all I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect the lady that much. I mean, seriously, she's a big part of my my reading material in my childhood.
Well, isn't she considered one of the grandmasters of science fiction?
Yes, indeed. I believe she actually won one of those awards as a grandmaster, and well deserved at that.
And I think there's only been a very few that have been given that honorific.
And each of them, it was well deserved.
Yeah.
Now, Andrew Norton taught me that it is possible to write a rousing good science fiction story and throw some romance in there so subtly that teenage boys don't pick it up, but grown-up boys do. Now, I can't answer for the ladies. Maybe they picked it up at the time when I was just in it for adventure, but they understood the wider context that I didn't understand until later.
Yeah.
But you know, it's one of those authors I would really love to write in a similar style, but it's not. I don't think I could pull it off well enough to actually attempt it. Now I I will write my way from dusk till dawn, but
Yeah.
when I'm trying for an homage to another writer, that gets to be
Well, so
one of
far
those
you've
things
done
where
all right.
you want to get it right. You're desperate to get it right.
Mm.
But if somebody reads my stuff and says, "Hey, that reads like Keith Laumer," that reads like Fred Saberhagen,
Mm.
that
Hey,
reads like Andrew Norton, I'll go,
yeah, that
"Thank
reads like
you."
Dr. Watson.
Mhm.
Oh
It
well,
did. That was
I
great.
I worked very hard on the Sherlock Holmes story. I
Mm.
read everything that Conan Doyle wrote, every
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes story, and then I read everything that other people wrote as pastiches
Hmm.
for
Mhm.
Sherlock Holmes. I had Watson's voice down. I could hear it in my head. I knew exactly how to say everything. I had the archaic language down. I'm very proud of that. I got it to sound like Watson. I'm very proud of
Yes.
that.
Yes, you did. It's spot on. Spot on. Yeah. Today's book show was a. It was first time they'd done it. Didn't have much of a crowd, but considering it was the first time, um, they had a hard time trying to get it advertised. Uh, News shows will not come out until the day of an event,
Mm.
which is like this. That's almost too. That's too late, really, when you come right down to it.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I don't know about there, but around here, our newspaper will come the day of the event and interview you, and then put it in like the next day or so. That's
Mhm.
really too late.
Yeah.
So I only sold one book. Carl sold two, and I think I bought 10. So
Fair trade.
yeah, Carl's like, now did you buy those because you were interested in them, or because you were just trying to support these other? Like, look, if I was doing it just to support them, there's a guy over there with about 10 mystery books that I would have bought, but I didn't buy a single one of them because they didn't sound that interesting. And there was
Mm.
another lady who had done 4 different shapeshifters. The only one I was interested in was the werewolf one. The other three didn't, especially the duck sounded kind of silly. So, yeah, I bought what I wanted because they sounded interesting. One guy had an excellent marketing technique. He only had one book. He had it available in paperback or hardback.
Mm.
Mm.
$20 for the paperback, and it was a good size. 25 for the hardback. Yeah, I'm gonna go for, and only $5 more. I'm gonna go for the hardback, and I'm pretty sure most people are gonna do that. Plus, it sounded like a really interesting fantasy book,
Mm.
fantasy mystery, and I'm like, that's an interesting
Mm.
combination. I
Yeah.
love how the genres are changing these days. There's not like just one genre. There's not just fantasy, but now there's a fantasy mystery. That's cool.
Yeah, the it's beginning to get blended.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And the crossover between genres is it can turn out to be very, very good. Michaela's books.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that.
Fantasy, sci-fi, romance,
Mhm.
as well as alt historical, and I don't know what else. She describes it totally
Paranormal.
differently. Paranormal, yep.
Yeah, hers is paranormal fantasy romance is I think how she puts it. I'm like, what the hell is that? Yeah, look at this. That's like my two series, Hunter's Ridge and Beth and Hill. Carl tried to call them mystery, and I'm like, no, I don't do mystery. I'm not good at writing mystery.
Mm.
You know who did it on the first page. So I thought it's more like just a crime drama. Well, they're character based, really. In Hunter's Ridge, you're really looking at BJ and Carly, and in Beth and Hill, you're really looking at Beth and Hill, and this stuff happens around them. So somebody suggested calling them crime drama romance, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I want romance attached to them because there's a lot of stigma, shall I say, about romance books.
Mm.
So, yeah. So,
There has been, yeah. There have been romance writers that
oh, they are
um
strict
hmm
when you start talking romance.
yeah. And the only thing that is comparable is uh strict mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did try my hand at the uh locked room mystery in the Spaceport Bar book, as you have read, Donna,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope that I pulled that off well enough. But I got to admit, I cribbed so much from Thin Man movies and Maltese Falcon and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether that's um, strictly a mystery or more of ad, a an adventure romp, basically in a sci-fi setting. Um, I
I
hope
have
it
a
works.
mental hang up when it comes to urban fantasy.
Oh, and we know
Um,
some people that do that very well too.
Mhm.
and my main thing is the majority of the urban fantasy I was exposed to when the term was first becoming popular, it was a thinly veiled romance story. So, I mean, it's basically, who's the main character, bumping uglies with, in this book. Um, so the the main thrust of a lot of the stuff that I write fiction wise is more what I term modern fantasy. Stuff that's more akin to Jim Butcher and Dresden type books than the urban fantasy, which is basically um, what's the main character having sex with in this go around.
Hmm. All right, I've got a recommendation for you.
So
Uh,
Laurel K. Hamilton.
Yes,
uh, she's good. She's good, but no, Jana Oliver.
Yeah.
She's seriously. Uh, look up her Demon Trapper series. Um, Jana is one of the people I know from um, the Jack the Ripper chat room where I
Mm.
met Lindsay. Did not set out to be a writer, became one. and she's damn good. And she's also got another standalone that examines Jack the Ripper with the conceit was that there was a conspiracy of time travelers who went back and committed or discovered who committed the Jack the Ripper murders as a tag team, which explains so much about how each one was different from one another, but so very similar. They were just different people trying to do the same damn thing on different nights. And I'm not explaining this well. Her
And that
book
would
is
explain why there were two in one night.
and historically, a lot of folks that studied it thought this one lady was killed by her estranged husband, and the other one was actually Jack. So that's a whole nother kettle of fish because I could talk about Jack the Ripper for days on end and probably not do it as well as it deserves. I had an idea for two different Jack the Ripper books I wanted to do. One was using the main suspects for each individual killing, going through and having 5 different murderers that the newspapers of the time conflated into being one person. And then there was another one that was basically not as well worked out as an idea, and probably will not ever be written because I do not want to allow a serial killer space in my head for long enough to write a book.
Yeah.
I did that on one of my Hunter's Ridge, and I must have done a good job because I creeped myself out for so badly that I quit writing on Hunter's Ridge, and that's when the Beth and Hill series started coming around.
Yep. There are times when you go, I'm giving this character headspace and I don't like it.
Yeah. You go in those deep, dark places in your mind. You don't
Oh
want
Lord, when it calls for deep dark, we can all go there. But if you want to stay there long enough to write the book as well as it needs to be written, you run a definite risk there. It's probably why my bad guys are so piss poor, because I don't want to give them headspace.
Yeah.
Seriously, I can make them stomp around and be megalomaniacs all day long, but to make them actually evil, that's a door in my psyche I do not want to open.
Much less kick wide open and let all the sun in.
And leave it swinging for a long time.
Yeah.
Because it takes me a year or two to write a book. Seriously, I'm very slow, and that's it's. I wouldn't
because
call it
you
a
have
handicap.
a job and responsibilities.
What? No, it's
and
because
you write slow.
I have to have the inspiration. It has to be on fire in my head before I can throw it down on the paper. And that's not what you want if you want to make a living off of writing.
Yeah.
It's all right if you're like me and you don't need book sales to survive.
You
You're doing it because you're driven to do it. But if you're doing it because that's your paycheck, you write faster.
yeah. What I was gonna say, Xanadu was one of my favorite musicals and one of my favorite Olivia Newton-John projects. There's a line in it. Have you ever heard the phrase "kissed by a muse"?
Yep.
And she was actually one of the muses because all the other ones were dancing with her at the beginning when they came into life off the mural. Well, I was going to say, in your case, Dan, you don't need to just be kissed by a muse. You need a smooching session with one.
Oh, my.
Heavy
My.
petting will be involved, let me tell you. Let's just say a deep dive is not out of the question.
But for you to be really
Thank you,
inspired,
Rich.
right?
That raised finger, that was worth it right there.
It's like that's green room.
Yep.
Nope.
Thank God for double, triple,
I'm
and
just skirting the
quadruple
edges of it.
entendre.
I'm just skirting the edges of it. I'm not opening the door and swinging it wide open.
Yeah, there's a big difference between dabbling in something and kicking the doors open and going in with both guns blazing. Oh, what was the line? What was the line? No, I can't do that.
You probably shouldn't on this show.
Oh, let's just say if you've ever watched Zorro the Gay Blade, you know exactly which line I was going to reach for. So
Okay.
That was a
Yes.
fun movie.
I
That
love
was a
that movie.
great movie.
I love that movie. I really do.
In fact, earlier today in my news feed, I was scrolling through, and Alicia Bridges' "I Love the Nightlife" came on, and I automatically thought to that scene in the Dracula film that George Hamilton was in, "Love at First Bite," where he's dancing to that song. Automatically, it just transposed in my mind over hearing her sing that song.
It's amazing what your memory of things will connect with other things that aren't supposed to be connected.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that makes us writers. We make those connections that are not exactly forbidden, but might not be the best idea until you start writing something, and then
Might
let
not
the
be
words
forbidden, but
flow.
are certainly questionable.
Yeah, questionable. That's the thing. Oh,
Well,
seriously.
George Hamilton's always fun to watch because he has a certain irreverence to his roles.
Mm-hmm.
He
Can
plays the
he can
part,
go
but he
over
has
the
fun
top
with it.
better than a lot of people have ever tried.
And he just he doesn't give a shit if you don't really care about him having as much fun as he has with those roles that he does.
Because he's having fun.
Yeah, and he doesn't give a shit. He's getting paid.
To have fun.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very fun in the Zorro movies that he did, especially the Gay Blade.
Mm. There were others?
That's what I was thinking.
That was the second one.
What was the first one?
Zorro, The Mark of Zorro, I think, and then the second one was Zorro the Gay Blade.
Okay, I got to look that first one up.
Yeah, I don't remember that being him.
Gay
I don't
Blade was
remember
the
him
second
doing
one.
anything other than that one in that genre.
The gay blood, yeah.
No, that was the second one.
Okay, now I got to research.
And the scenes with the guy that played the alcalde, where he's going, ah, I mean,
You silly alcalde! Yes.
it
Well,
was funny because Zorro, I mean, George almost broke character and started laughing, but he kind of got enough of that. What the hell's going on here? Look on his face to keep from losing it completely. But oh man, I enjoyed those scenes.
did we take this one a little bit too far? Yeah. I could see that. I could see that. If there's a prequel to Gay Blade, I really want to see it.
Yes.
Have you
But I
found
thought
it yet, Rich?
I thought that was the only one.
Sorry, what was that, Chris?
I said, have you found it yet?
I have not found it yet.
Now, word of warning.
Okay, the only Mark of Zorro I'm finding is Douglas Fairbanks.
Which was indeed a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, word of warning. Somebody put out a softcore porn version of Zorro.
Oh my.
Well, the story
Well, I
is
was
dull
thinking
as
that-
ditch water. I mean, seriously. There was no story whatsoever. Even for a porno, it was horrible. It was basically
Nothing on Netflix.
it was basically
Well, I was thinking there was another one. I may be mistaken.
I hope you're not, because I'd love for there to be another George Hamilton Zorro in there that I have yet to see. Not that the modern day ones are bad. I really like those.
Well, I like the ones with Antonio Banderas in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's what I was talking about. The two of them are really well done and well choreographed as far as the fight scenes. And
Well, crap. Maybe it was in two parts, and maybe that's what I was thinking.
oh, okay. Because it was shown as a TV movie.
Yeah, I think it had two parts. That's probably
Very
what
often.
That's
Now, there was
probably what I was thinking about.
there was also a I believe it was Frank Lemoncello did a Zorro movie.
I know he
He did a
did
Dracula
He
movie.
did, yeah.
I know he did the Dracula, but I think this was earlier. But it may have been a made for TV. But it was excellently done. It was, I think, more historically accurate.
Yeah, my mom had a crush on Frank Langella.
Oh, who didn't? Okay, there's Zorro the Gay Blade.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think it was two-parter, and I thought it was two movies. Gotta keep in mind, I was very little when it came out, but it was hilarious.
They might have split it up over 2 nights on TV.
I think they split it up
Yeah.
over 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That's what really made it seem like it was
A prequel and a sequel. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not finding
Yeah,
anything
that's what
else.
it was. They did one half of it one week and the other half the next week.
Okay, yep, now at the end. 128 movies.
Yes, 1974, The Mark of Zorro. Frank Langella played Don Diego Vega.
Mm.
Ah,
It was excellently done. Especially, I was impressed by the not only the costumes and the set, but the fight choreography.
Yeah,
But it was played seriously. It wasn't a comedy. So he was trying, from what I recall, he was trying to equal Guy Williams in the TV series,
yeah,
which was very well done. But as that was a Disney, very, very hard to. That's a high bar to try and chin up to.
Ricardo Montalban was Esteban in that one.
cool.
Yvonne DiCarlo.
Hubba hubba.
That was a childhood crush of mine.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then Zorro the Gay Blade, it had Brenda Vaccaro and Lauren Hutton in.
Yeah.
And Pilar Pellissier is Don Francisco's wife.
Leave it to Chris to notice the girls.
Well, he mentioned Yvonne DiCarlo. I'm like, well, Zorro the Gay Blade had some good looking gals in it, too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Uh,
And like I
and that
said,
was
I may
that
be
was not
single,
a
but I ain't dead.
that was not a disparaging remark,
Yeah,
Chris.
I know. I'm just playing along, Dad. Sometimes it's more fun just to do it. That's
That's
what
what
she
she
said.
said.
I beats to it.
Yeah. Zorro and the Musketeers. That led me to um, a lot of fencing with hot dog skewers
Mm.
throughout the house.
oh
I'm
yeah.
surprised my sisters did not kill me.
Oh man,
Not for the
Yeah,
lack of their trying.
you
that's because you
mentioning
were
the
really good with a
musketeer.
hot dog skewer. Um,
I was thinking about. I can't remember if it was the Fifth Musketeer or whatever, the one that had Michael York in it,
yep.
I believe
Yeah.
so.
and Sylvia Christel. Oh, she was a beautiful woman.
You know, it's really weird we don't have more sword fighting movies to look at, but then again, a period piece. Um,
Even though it was a little bit over the top, not quite as over top as Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner and all.
that
But
that wasn't over the top. That was scraping the bottom of the barrel. Sorry.
well, I'm talking about some of the performances were a little just
Mm,
too outlandish, shall we say?
hey,
But anyway, now the one
when
good
Mel
thing about
Brooks's Men in Tights is better than your Kevin Costner movie, um,
I started to say, well, the one good thing that came out of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, is Robin Hood Men in Tights. And I said, why should we believe you're Robin Hood? Because I'm like, some Robin Hoods, I can talk with an English accent.
The Michael York was just called The Three Musketeers. It was 1973. He played D'Artagnan.
Yeah, this
mm,
was going to be 79. It had Sylvia Crystal in it. And I think he played an older D'Artagnan in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh,
And you can't go wrong if you dip back into the classics with oh bugger, now his name I just knew his name a minute ago.
Talking
Douglas
about
Fairbanks.
Alexander Dumas.
Douglas Fairbanks.
Oh yeah,
The Four Musketeers, Milady's Revenge.
possibly. Anyway, Sylvia
Mm.
Crystal was one of the characters in it. One of the actresses that played one of the characters in it. I'll look it up.
Hmm.
Can't get the names right in my head.
There.
Don't give me a straight line, Dan.
All I have to do is smile.
I know what you're thinking.
Do you really?
Want to take a bet?
Probably not.
The Fifth Musketeer, 1979. She played Maria Theresa.
Yes, folks, we are a font of useless trivia, and we like it that way. So,
And she was also in the Max Smart movie, The Nude Bomb.
oh wow, that takes me back. Although the remake,
She was in some other more revealing roles, shall we say?
Now, I will probably catch some hate for this, and I don't care. One of my all-time favorite movies is Captain Blood with Errol Flynn. That part's not the part that's going to catch me hate, but I would love to see, with the effects that we can do today, Captain Blood being remade.
ooh.
Yeah.
Now, who would you cast in that if you had your dream team?
Actually, I would like to see Hemsworth as Captain Blood.
Ooh.
No,
Okay.
that should be pretty good.
I could just about see that playing across my mind's eye right now.
My mind was going to go somewhere else, and then Hemsworth came to mind. I'm like, I think Hemsworth would do a real good job in the role.
I could see him doing Errol Flynn really, really well.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite films of his that wasn't exactly the one he was best known for was the one where he it was the Niki Lauda biopic, the Formula One driver that about died and burned up in a wreck, and
Driven.
yeah, I think it was Driven, but I'm not sure.
Not familiar.
Rush, that was it. I'm pretty sure that was the name of the movie.
As really excellent he is in comedic
Yeah,
roles.
that was Rush.
He can do some dramatic stuff as well. That is just outstanding.
The funny thing about that movie is Chris Hemsworth played a Formula One champion. Niki Lauda was an up-and-coming driver who became a champion. And they were very different personalities, but they developed a friendship that was surprising, and that was a really good movie. So, Even if you're not a fan of racing, you might like the movie.
Hmm.
It was a 2013 film.
Well, it's a nice thing when a movie is so good it allows people to think about and explore stuff they're not normally interested in,
Yeah.
and it kind of expands their universe a little bit. Now, it it's not easy to do sometimes, depending on the subject matter and
Yeah.
the script, the actors, whatever. But when it happens, it becomes something special.
Yeah. And although Driven wasn't the movie, that was another movie that I thought was underrated and should have gotten more
Mhm.
credit than
Yeah,
it was given.
that was a Stallone movie. That's why
Yes.
Oh, what was that? What was that one I thought was so neat, just for the concept, but the execution kind of didn't fulfill everyone's expectations. One of the Sheen boys was in it. About a car and his brother getting murdered, and
Wraith.
Yeah, The Wraith.
that's it. The Wraith.
I love The Wraith.
I love that movie. It could have been so much better.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah, it's still
It
great.
wasn't
Yeah.
perfect, but it had some good performances in it.
Yeah, that movie got me in trouble. So apparently, the only version I've seen of it previously to me showing it to Misty is the one that was sanitized for TV.
Oh,
Yeah. You got to see the one that showed
yeah,
the
Yeah.
the one you showed your wife was the uncut.
Which I didn't know there was a cut versus uncut version. So
Yeah.
it's
I didn't either, but thankfully my wife was in bed before I started watching it. So
Yeah.
that was a conversation.
But
For me,
interestingly enough, that movie had Nick Cassavetes, who was the actor and director John's son.
mhm.
He was also in Delta Force 2 or 3, I believe. I think it was 3. Randy Quaid was in it.
Yeah,
Ron Howard's brother Clint was in it.
Clint Howard. Yes.
Of course, it had Sherry Lynn Finn in it, and then Charlie Sheen, and I was thinking there was one more famous name. I can't pull it up at the moment. But yeah, it definitely had some.
Yeah, I mean, there were some good performances in there.
And the actual vehicle that was used by the Wraith was one of the prototype vehicles developed by Dodge and Mopar.
For
In
the
fact, if you
Interceptor.
look, you can see the pentagram symbol on the nose cone of it. You know, lots of times they would come up with the prototype cars and they would later develop actual models out of them. The Ford Probe was one of those prototypes that eventually became the Probe GT, which was a little sporty looking hatchback back in the
day. Yeah.
yeah. And then of course that was Dodge's, and there's been several other instances where the prototypes became models or near models, like I said, with a little bit of twitching of the design. The first time I ever remember seeing a character drink gasoline on film.
Oh, it's got a kick to it. Yeah.
Yep. And actually, I think his name was Skunk Boy.
Gutter Boy. Gutter Boy.
Gutter Boy and
Gutter Boy.
Skink.
Yeah, Gutter Boy. Yeah.
Gutter Boy and Skink.
Yeah.
Mm. Funny the things that you remember. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can tell I watched that movie probably about a dozen times. Glorious Results of a Misspent Youth.
Hey.
I love that movie. I
Bonus points if you get the Joan Jett album title reference.
Mhm. Yes, indeed. Yeah, name drop Susie Quattro in there too, and you got me.
Oh
Uh,
man, Susie wasn't given enough credit
um, she paved the
for
way
for
for
the.
she paved the way for a lot of lady rockers.
Yes, she did, and she was a very underrated bass player.
Not by me. Um,
You know what I mean, though. She wasn't given enough credit just because she was a female. I mean, she made some damn good songs, and like you said, she paved the way for a lot of future females down the road.
mhm. All of the Runaways, Joan Jett included.
Vixen,
Um,
Lita
mhm.
Ford was in the Runaways,
Yeah.
and
Um,
the bass player for the Runaways was the bass player for the Bangles. So yeah, there's a lot just from that. Of course, Lita Ford married Chris Holmes of Wasp,
oh,
Blackie Lawless's band.
are y'all familiar with the band Zepparella?
I've heard
No.
the name,
Oh my goodness.
but there's some incredible female rockers. I mean, Vixen,
Hmm.
Janet Gardner, and Sherry Peterson, Roxy Petrucci, and Jane Cunman. Bless her heart. Rest in peace. She died way too soon. Of course, Janet and
Um,
Sherry's left the band, and Roxy's the only one left that's original member. But they had some
if
dang good
if
albums.
if you're a Led Zeppelin fan, I cannot praise Zepparella enough. And Dred Zeppelin, which is totally the Weird Al
Oh,
end of the spectrum.
Dred
But
Zeppelin's fun.
mhm,
Elvis
um,
impersonator singing Led Zeppelin songs.
mhm.
You don't get much weirder or cooler than that.
Big old gold belt. Uh, yeah. Um, but Zepparella, if you don't have a video to go with it, you could swear those girls are actually Led Zeppelin
Oh, there's some.
until they hit the higher range that
Mhm.
um, Plant can't hit. Seriously. But they get you watch them perform. They're actually playing the harmonica. They're actually playing all the instruments.
Yeah.
They've got the songs down pat. They've got the voices. Just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Well,
Um,
there's some women musicians that are just absolutely incredible and
yeah, and
amazing.
they never get enough credit because they're women.
Did you see the video of that gal that was doing the drums to "A Whole Lot of Love"? It's been a while back since I posted it, but
Oh
man,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, and she's only gotten better since then, I'm sure, because that video is probably 4 years ago.
Joe
Yeah, there's
Dog.
been a couple of times, Joe Dog, but she's come back to life.
Either come into the room or shut up, Joe.
Now, Dan,
Come on, Joe.
Hey, we've
the
only got 4 minutes left. What harm can he do? Go ahead, Rich.
the software that you use for your music maker. That's Magix.
Yep.
Okay. I went ahead and pulled the trigger on that yesterday because that was $29 for the 2023 version.
Yep. I'm not fond of their update to the layout of how you work the program, but that was the 2022 update. So maybe they went back to something that is a little bit more accessible. But there
User
is
friendly.
well, it since 2011 we got used to you got the instrument list, you've got the actual layout of how you piece things together into the different loops, and you got the special things that you can do with the um, you can write your own drum parts and keyboard parts and things like that if you've got the wherewithal to actually sit down and do it. But the 2022 update scrambled things and made it more difficult to get the instrument voices in a coherent list, as well as the layout of the patches that you're putting together. So it
Can you
took me a
post that in
while. I
chat,
figured
Rick?
out how to do it. It took me a while, but it was that update was counterintuitive, where the rest of it was very intuitive. I mean, you didn't have to read the instructions. You could figure out how to use it just by playing with it. Now, if 2023 has fixed anything like that, and the next time I start the program up, it's going to offer me the update, so I will see. But, yeah. All right. 3 minutes. 2-minute warning. Get your shit together.
Yeah, Joe Dog's already rolled over and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Newsflash. Joe Dog is sleepy. Film at 11. All right,
Yeah, I don't know
folks.
about that.
Who knows? Who knows? Joe Dog might wake back up again and to see what's going on with the stream out of curiosity.
No, he's just checking up to make sure I didn't go to sleep.
Yeah.
I know what he's doing.
Yeah, he was
Fall asleep in
surprised.
your stream 15, 20 times. They never let you down. They let you live it down.
Hey, Rich, can you post that link to that program in the private chat?
If I told you guys about the time I fell asleep in my stream,
If you did, I've forgotten.
I've slept since then.
yeah, I was doing a 12-hour stream once, and I just about fell asleep playing the Words on Stream game with my viewers. Thankfully, everybody was playing the game while I was sleeping, and that kept the stream going, that kept the chat interactive.
Sometimes it happens. I mean, seriously, we put everything into being here, and then when everything's running right, got to recover that energy somehow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, it's been 2 hours. I'm going to tell the bedtime story, and if y'all want to stick around, we'll have an after show that ain't recorded. 'Cause I ain't sleepy yet. But Carl complained about it being 3 hours last time, so
Yes, Carl.
Well, you know, we shall see.
Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. 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 System will shut down.